Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we're going to learn about 13 signs that you're an empath. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Understanding empathy. If you're an empath, you understand what empathy actually means. Many people treat empathy just like this superhuman power, almost like reading people's minds. They brag about their empathetic abilities, not because they genuinely care about people, but because they need something to make them feel special. Real empaths, on the other hand, don't need titles or superpowers because they know that empathy is a gift as well as a curse. At its core, empathy is a very complicated human emotion. According to the Encyclopedia of Social Psychology, it's defined as understanding another person's experiences by putting yourself in their place. In other words, empathy is your ability to stand in someone else's shoes, to see the world from their perspective. But the interesting thing about empathy is that almost everyone can feel it. Most people experience shades of empathy on a daily basis. You'll empathize with a mailman walking around on a hot day. You'll empathize with a mother struggling with her toddler in the grocery store. We've all had experiences like these, so in one way or another, we've all practiced empathy. So what separates an empath from everyone else? Well, empaths have more emotional potential and sensitivity. They feel stronger emotions and identify closely with the world around them. Now, naturally, that changes how they interact with people, places, and ideas. Sometimes this extra empathy helps them bond with new friends or understand their own emotions. Other times, it leaves them feeling reckless, anxious, or downright exhausted. My point is, empathy is not a bragging right, and it's not magic either. Psychologically, empaths are just sensitive individuals whose emotions often get the best of them. So if you understand what that's like, then you just might be one of them. Number 2. Matching your environment. In the mind of an empath, environments are more than just physical spaces. Each one carries its own mood, attitude, and energy level, which means different environments evoke different kinds of emotions. Some, for example, are calm and quiet. They might create emotions like peace and comfort, but others are loud and chaotic, so they create things like stress, fear, and concern. If you're an empath, you may pick up on these emotions the moment you enter the room, then mirror those emotions with your own mood and energy. Why is that? Well, because empaths absorb and reflect their environment, even if those reflections drive them crazy. Number 3. A source of support. Does everyone come to you for advice? It's no secret that empaths are fantastic listeners. They genuinely care about what people are saying. They take the time to understand their problems and identify with their struggles. It may feel natural to you, but that kind of support and validation is hard to find. But something else separates an empath from any other good listener. Empaths don't sit there quietly. They don't just smile and nod along. They're actively involved in the conversation, and they try their best to respond in meaningful ways. Empaths know there's a big difference between sympathy and empathy. Most good listeners are sympathetic. They listen to your story, and maybe they're moved by your experience, but they're standing on the outside looking in. An empathic person, on the other hand, adopts your perspective. They stand on the inside looking out. They try to understand how your experience feels, and they take your experiences to heart. Unfortunately, this kind of empathetic listening can be incredibly taxing, especially for an empath. You get so involved in another person's life that it drains your energy, and it leaves you feeling emotionally cluttered. So if you're an empath, it's important to stay within your limits. Yeah, be there for your friends, give them the support they need, but remember to look out for your own emotional health first. You can't always be their rock or their springboard. Otherwise, you'll get so tangled up in their problems, you'll never stop to think about your own. Number 4. Imaginary simulations. Do you ever lay back and wonder how life could have gone differently? What if you were born into a different family? What if you met a different group of friends in school? What would your life look like today? Many empaths ask these questions on a daily basis, and they use them to run something called a mental simulation. According to Lesley University, simulations are one of the most common avenues for human empathy. Before you can walk a mile in someone else's shoes, you have to run a simulation of their life. You have to imagine what their existence must be like. First, you build the world, then you can walk inside of it. You're doing essentially the same thing when you daydream about different possibilities. You're running simulations, you're imagining new experiences, and you're feeling empathy for another person, even if that other person doesn't exist. Number 5. Deepening your relationships. Empaths will form special bonds with the people in their lives. Their friendships, for example, tend to be more intimate and emotional. Because empaths like to connect with people on a deeper level, they want to hear about what you love, what you hate, and what you've gone through. They like to embrace the little moments that shape you as a person and show you they don't just like you, they really know you. That's why empaths tend to have a small number of stronger friendships. They take the time to explore the people they have instead of searching for someone new. Number 6. Emotional resonance. Many empaths experience a phenomenon called emotional resonance. This comes from a 2009 study published in the journal Emotion. The study explains how other people's emotions can trigger a chain reaction in the mind of an empath. First, you gauge how the other person is feeling, asking yourself simple questions like, are they happy or are they sad? Once your brain lands on an emotion, it activates a representation of yourself. In other words, you imagine, what if I was happy? Or what if I was sad? And that's when emotional resonance comes into play. You've now internalized those representations of yourself, so your active emotional state resonates with that representation. In simpler terms, you're matching the emotions of other people, so if that's something you do on a regular basis, you're probably an empath. Number 7. Meaning in everything. Living as an empath can be quite an emotional burden, yet most of them are happy and healthy people. So why is that? Let's go back to that 2009 study on emotional resonance. The same researchers found that empathy increases well-being over time. Even though empaths have extreme emotional highs and lows, they're actually more satisfied than the average person. Why is that? Because they find more meaning in their lives. They discover emotional depth in the tiniest things, like every casual conversation or every passing glance. If you're the kind of person who finds meaning in everything, you may be an empath. Number 8. Reckless giving. Empaths often give more than they can afford. They get swept up in the power of a story, a season, or a cause. They identify with the hardships of others and do everything they can to help, even if that means taking on too much. While it's a wonderful idea, overcommitment can be a disaster in practice, because many empaths just don't know when to stop. They spend too much and they care too much, until eventually their reckless giving becomes someone else's problem. Number 9. Extreme sensitivity. Do people say you're too sensitive? Empaths hear this all the time because the tiniest thing may trigger the largest reactions. The truth is, empaths get their feelings hurt pretty easily. They feel things very strongly, so they're generally sensitive. There's nothing wrong with that, but it can lead to some unnecessary drama. If this sounds like you just might be an empath. Number 10. Negative susceptibility. Negative people affect empaths more than anyone because empaths draw emotions from the people around them. So if they're spending time with someone negative, it's going to have a huge impact on their attitude. The bad news is, empaths are attracted to toxic people. You're drawn to their intensity and emotional volatility, even if these people drain your energy and constantly stress you out. Number 11. Standing up for others. Do you stand up for others in need? Empaths are often the first to get involved because they empathize with people who are struggling. This comes from a 1990 study in the journal Motivation and Emotion. They found that empathetic people have a powerful reaction to emotions like distress. And while most people stand by and watch, empaths are much more likely to take action. Number 12. Setting time limits. If you're an empath, you're probably the first to go overboard and the first to get carried away. So, like many empaths, you have to set firm boundaries for you and your time. You may say things like, "I can only give 10 hours a week," or "I need at least 3 hours for myself." These strict time limits keep your giving under control. Otherwise, you'd spend too much time on other people and not nearly enough on yourself. Number 13. Dependence on solitude. Empaths need space to stop, digest, and think things through. Without these moments of solitude, empaths stay swept up in the moment. You'll make rash, emotional decisions without using your head. Luckily, some alone time can help you relax and reset, and that way you can think logically, adjust your priorities, and move forward with a clear head. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think, and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.